Holy cow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. They hit almost everything with this new OTA. We've got a new meta shakeup. Let's get started talking about the changes that this OTA brought us in the second Snap Take of the day. Arishem has been changed in the first major way. The first hit to the card itself. They hit everything around it, and Arishem was still one of the best and most played decks. Instead of shuffling 12 cards, it's shuffling 15 random cards into your deck instead of 12. You now have a less than 50% chance to see your starting cards. 3 more cards fundamentally changes the math on seeing any one card, and we're talking specifically about Loki and Goliath, I think, are the 2 main cards. When your opponent sees it, changes the entire Arishem matchup. They are now from 37.5 to 33.3%. Less likely to see that deck, and by the early turns when they would need that Loki, even less likely. That's huge. Anyone who's been playing long enough, America Chavez used to be a 6/9 that was always drawn on turn 6, and it was the most important consistency piece in Marvel Snap. Changing America Chavez out of the game fundamentally changed the consistency of decks in real ways that made them significantly worse. This is like that. This is going to make it significantly worse, I think. How much worse? I don't think we can know until we play it. I've been proved a fool by Arishem before. I refused to take a stand on this card until it came out. I was like, it could be a meme, it could be great. We have genuinely no idea. Does adding 3 cards make it significantly worse? Yes. Does it make it enough worse so that it's not still one of the 3 or 4 best decks in Marvel Snap? I don't know. Anyone who's telling you they know for sure is wrong. Right now, they don't. They can't. No one does yet. We shall see how strong this is going forward, but right now, this is a significant weakening of what this deck was. The question we're going to have to find out is, was this so far ahead in terms of power that this nerf is going to affect it? I don't think this fundamentally changes the way Arishem decks look. This is the crazy Arishem list. I think that this is still fundamentally the same list. Cassandra Nova is now a significantly better card against Arishem. Or not significantly, it's +3 power throughout most of the game, although the Loki thing still does the exact same thing. They're less likely to see Loki. You have play into fundamentally everything with this list. I think that this list is still excellent and really strong, and still worth checking out. However, spoiler alert, 1, 2 more cards in this list were nerfed in this OTA. The first of them is Cassandra Nova herself. Sorry, we don't have the new visual on the stats, but Cassandra Nova is a 3/0 now, which is going to top her out at a 3/6 in a regular game instead of a 3/7. That's a major change, but although when they're playing the card, she sort of gets her extra power back if they play those cards. So, big change to the card they gave us for free. I'm genuinely surprised about this. I didn't think they were going to nerf Cassandra Nova since they just gave her to us as a free card literally like 2 weeks ago. I thought that she would have a longer leash than a lot of other cards because of the way she was acquired, but apparently frickin' not. She's still amazing versus Arishem, but the Loki change may have pushed her too much, so fundamentally how this would work is if your opponent Loki'd with priority, and Loki is in a lot of decks right now, if that hasn't gotten to your part of the meta, it will, and then you played Cassandra Nova in a regular game, that Cassandra Nova was like 11 power, and that was a lot, right? Like, sorry, 12 power. So, or even the turn after, it was 11 power, 10 power. That's a lot of freaking power for a 3-drop. So the Loki change, I think, ended up pushing Cassandra more than they wanted, which I think might have been one of the major causes here. Loki has been a huge success since this change. One of the best cards, but no longer the same one of the best cards. So she's amazing versus Arishem, but the Loki change may have stopped. She's still amazing versus Loki, but you lose a little bit of equity in other games. Fundamentally, they've kept her ceiling really high, but they've lowered her floor. She's also just a bit worse in Darkhawk, but still really good here. She still gets up to a 3/7, which is still really strong. You're going to feel it more and more each turn you miss with her. Very often, I would end up playing on her on like turn 5 and just be like, sure, I'll take a 3/5. Like at this point in the game, that's perfectly fine. The later you play her now, the miss really starts to hurt more and more. She's still worth it pending Arishem Loki play rates. If Arishem play rates stay high, and again, we do not know that, it's possible that either he is so much worse or the feeling of playing Arishem is so much worse that the card disappears. At that point, you will start to see less of this card. But if that just means Loki gets played more, then you still will see plenty of Cassandra Nova. And perhaps she's still worth it in Silver Surfer, where in Silver Surfer, her use is not just that she's a 3 for Surfer targets, it's that on turn 3, when you had to Cassandra Nova, and you didn't then really have anything to do with Absorbing Man, if you didn't see Hope Summers immediately, you could go Cassandra Nova into Absorbing Man. That play only loses exactly 1 power, and not terrible. So this is going to stay in Surfer, and as long as Loki is prominent, it's going to stay in Loki. So far, so good. Great. Hey, before we get to the next thing, we're trying to hit 15,000 subs by the end of the year. Please hit that sub button. We bring you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos, the best decks ahead of the meta. Hit that sub, hit that like, hit that comment if you're willing. Also, comments on this video for your chance to win a Season Pass. We will be announcing a Season Pass winner from one video this week tomorrow. All right, this is a decent Cassandra Nova deck as an example of a deck that I think still runs her. This is also a place where Cassandra Nova is a little bit better. Mr. Negative being a 0 cost card that can be found by Jane Foster. Do you want to be playing Cassandra Nova on turn 6? There's 3 cards left in your opponent's deck. You now have a 0/6. There's worse things than a 0/6, right? If you have Wong out, it's a 0/9. If you have Wong and Mystique out, which is less likely if you're Janing, right? You have even more than that. That's still a really powerful card in this list. I think that, is it better in this list? No, I think it's still just a touch worse because she's very often just the card you'd want to play on 3, but she is still a very powerful card in this but negative list. This list, again, peaked in the top 4 of the Infinite Leaderboard. This is a real and powerful list. Check, whatever, Tuesday's video? No. Yeah, pretty sure it was Tuesday's video. The one that has Mr. Negative in the thumbnail if you'd like a turn-by-turn full guide of this one. All right, Thena finally got hit. She's from a 2-1 to a 2-0. And let me just tell you, this is a buff. It means it's almost impossible for Thena to get shonged. And like, while that's not always a buff, because Thena sits on the board, she would have to have her 10 power by the end of turn 5 and have been on the board for a long time, which means you could better plan your shong. You cannot do that. You can freely trigger her 3 times. If you freely trigger her 3 times, she's going to be a 2-9. If you freely triggered her 3 times, and we're talking turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, she was a 3-10, which would make her a shong target. Now, she's basically impossible to shong. If on turn 6, you trigger her that extra time, for example, and you make her a 3-12, right? That buff will happen after the shong resolves. So, yeah, Thena is awesome. So I think these decks will just be the best with these changes. I think we're about to see the return to the top of the meta of Thena. She is, I think, the best card, or among the best cards in the game, and like the best, like the best build around, let's say. Not the best goes in every deck, but she's the best early game power shell. I think right now she was highest win rate, at least we think. So I think that's just going to continue. The Thena nerf is confusing to me. I don't expect this to make her worse. This is probably where I would start with Thena if I had access to these cards. And again, one other card in this deck was nerfed outside of Thena, and that one is a real one that you might end up changing. Spoiler, it's Nocturne. But everything else here, this is, again, a wonderful place to start if you are looking to play a Thena deck. This one has the Elsa, goes amazingly with Kitty and Kate. Mysterio goes amazing with Elsa. All of these go great with Hope. You still have the Juggernaut nonsense. You can drop Mockingbird or Sasquatch with Shangri Juggernaut to end the game to win games. This is a sick, powerful deck that offers a lot of power. Again, yeah, this is just really good. Is Thena worse in this list? Yeah, in some situations, but if you're not like, you make your opponent Shang dead so much more easily now, right? Like, if you're not dropping that Mockingbird or Sasquatch till the end of the game, then you are totally freaking set here. All right, Nocturne finally lost a power. She went from a 3-5 to a 3-4. She is no longer the power of her parents combined, Scarlet Witch and Nightcrawler. She is now a 3-4. This is a huge change. part of her power was that she was so well statted for her ability. I think this and Cassandra are intended to make Speed, the Spotlight card next week, more appealing. Speed is a 3/3 ongoing, not on reveal, ongoing, that gets +1 power for every turn you spend all your energy. Can get up to a 3/9, making Nocturne the auto-include a little bit worse, makes Speed a little bit better. Mockingbird is the wrong card there. What this does is make me wish I had been more bullish in recommending Copycat. Nocturne was enough better than Copycat that I thought that you didn't have to own Copycat. It was perfectly fine to replace that kind of card here. But now that Nocturne is nerfed, I think Copycat is probably, generally speaking, a better card, which is really rough. You're still fine playing Mockingbird. You're still fine playing, excuse me. You're still fine playing Nocturne instead of Copycat, but I think Copycat's now a slightly better card. You'll be fine still playing this, but it is worse. Not having 5 power makes it significantly worse in those circumstances where you're trying to win a lane with her late, especially. So between this change and Thena, I'd like to welcome back Red Guardian. If Thena is enough better, Red Guardian is better. If Nocturne starts seeing less play, Red Guardian is better. We're going to see one more change that I think is really, really going to buff up Red Guardian. I think Red Guardian is a card it's time to start putting into decks again. And once again, Magic was hurt really, really badly by Nocturne. If Nocturne sees less play or is less effective, and she should be less effective, which would lead to a little bit less play, then Magic decks should be better again as well. I think all of these changes fundamentally shake up the meta. I think as much as it seemed, outside of Arishem's ridiculous. I think this is the biggest change. I think the Nocturne change is insane. This is an example of a deck that would play Nocturne. And I think Nocturne stays in this list because this is the deck I hit Infinite with. It's still got like a 60% run rate with an Infinite. Not having that extra power on Nocturne might make that card better be Juggernaut, right? Maybe I want Juggernaut in that spot now instead of Nocturne. Maybe I don't, right? Like I'm not 1000% sure. Oh, hello, the cat is here. So either which way, I think that like this kind of change changes my math on Nocturne and is going to change things. Yes, Thena is still in this deck. Thena is nerfed. The Thena nerf doesn't bug me. The Nocturne nerf really worries me. It also might end up being Red Guardian now, right? Like this kind of change has ripple effects. All right, next up, the Mind Stone is reversed to a 1/1 from a 2/1. This cannot be overstated. A Mind Stone on 1 was a snap condition in Thanos. I don't believe that will be back, but that does, maybe it's back if you see Mind Stone on 1, although with Thanos in hand, you have one less chance to do that. This is a ridiculously huge change. This is really great with Lockjaw and really great if you're going to run Marvel Boy in your Lockjaw, and you might even put Phastos in. So you're figuring out, I don't think you want Lockjaw, Marvel Boy, and Phastos because you definitely want Hope Summers. But you can figure out which two of those are right with some time. And I think Thanos is literally one major change away from being completely incredible, and that is Thanos needs to not start in deck and will really cook. I think this is a step in the right direction. Thanos goes from honestly terrible to playable with this change, but I don't think it's great. This is Ika's Thanos list. You hit Infinite with this. I think this list is still really good, and having an extra 1-drop is very, very powerful in the list. Also, before you go crazy and get Thanos, remember that Thanos is a deck that fundamentally requires an absolutely crap ton of Series 5 cards. This version in particular has Nico, Kate Bishop, Marvel Boy, Kyara, Cull Obsidian, Scar, and Mockingbird. 7 outside of Thanos. Plenty of others run Phastos, plenty of others run Hope Summers, etc. So Thanos is an extraordinarily expensive deck, and so it is 100% worth knowing this might not be something you want to run out of your way to get. Sandman is changed to a 5/6. Like, Sandman as a 5/7 was just really big in combination with other things. I don't think 5/6 is going to be crazy, but this is a big hit. You're going to lose X percentage of Sandman games. Otherwise, Sandman has been the best deck, again, for a little while, and they don't want that, right? Sandman has been the meta. I told you Sandman would be the meta when it was first started being played, that it was going to become the meta, and it's still probably going to be too good. I don't think that Sandman's really going to go away until Ultron is changed. I think Ultron being so freaking strong is the actual problem here, is the actual culprit, not Sandman. But this is going to lose some percentage of extra games, which is going to make it played a little bit less. Again, I think Ultron is the real problem here, not Sandman. So we're really sort of working around our way up to the problem. This is a version of Sandman. We've featured like 5 of these. This is Safety Blade's version. This version is fundamentally trying to disguise that it's a Sandman list by saying, oh, look, I'm a zoo list. Look, it's Squirrel Girl. Look, it's Marvel Boy. And then you just sort of go Sandman, Ultron, and win. So very, very, it gives you snap equity. It gives you an extra way to win the game of Marvel Snap. Lady Deathstrike goes back to a 5/7 from a 5/6. This was a change that was, well, it was not needed. This is like the Apocalypse change, where like this card was buffed and was good for a couple of weeks. It was really high win rate, and then they just sort of got rid of it before they gave it a chance to settle. Well, it's back to where it was. I don't see this doing too much alone. 5 power is still the going strategy of Marvel Snap. The game, when this card was great, there was a lot of 3 power stuff in the meta that it would destroy. Now, the going rate for cards is 5 power. You're playing an absolute ridiculous amount of 5 power cards. Although this should make Zoo a little bit worse. This should potentially be good against Sandman at the end of the game, killing a lane if you can lose priority. Although if they had Patriot, now you can't. It'll still blow it up on Blue Marvel. So this is a little bit of up, a little bit of down. I think that there's some potential here. I really, really miss a Nihilus list. So hopefully this helps push lists like this, which was one of the best lists in the game. This was one of the highest win rate lists in all of Marvel Snap last time before Lady Deathstrike was nerfed. So I would hope that this deck comes back now. It's strong. This deck puts up a lot of power. Oh, say hello to the kitty. He's right here getting pet. So hopefully he wants food. So when we're done with this video, it's time to feed a cat. But yeah, this was one of those powerful lists. You're happy destroying stuff here because it gives you death. Your Spider-Ham is very good against the Sandman matchup, as is the Killmonger, and this is just another plan to like beat up on bounce decks and other decks that are just trying to get that early power stuff going. Again, I might want Red Guardian in this list as an extra bit of stuff to do, or at least a Shadow King, because if I Mockingbird or Annihilus on 5, then I can play Shadow King with Mockingbird or Death on 6. But this is still, again, a great start to this list, and a good place to begin looking at a new meta answer. This is my favorite buff, even better than Deathstrike. Man-Thing goes from a 4/5 to a 4/7, plus 2 power is absolutely huge here. Let's put some Luke in the meta. Luke Cage needs to be in the meta, and if you're running this card, you usually run Luke Cage. This change plus Lady Deathstrike is going to be huge. That's 14 power in a lane, -2 to anything that you didn't destroy that's cheap of theirs. So you're this will kill the 5s with Lady Deathstrike, right? The 5s that are everywhere. You bring them down to 3, Deathstrike ruins them, you win. This should absolutely wreck Zoo and Ultron. It's going to be a 4/15 if they fill their lane with cheap shit. Even if they don't, 4/12 is still a ton of power. If we can finally get that Zabu rework, I think this would be one of the best cards in the game. I'm calling it right now. Get ready for a whole bunch of Man-Thing all over the place. And this is Ava's Man-Thing list. Ava's the only player I know who didn't really just stop playing Man-Thing. I didn't want to give you another Lady Deathstrike list, although we have a really great Man-Thing Lady Deathstrike list for you coming in, I want to say it's Sunday's video. We'll have a really awesome Man-Thing Lady Deathstrike and Mysterio list coming for you. But until then, we've got this very cool Ava Junk list, which is just basically doing Man-Thing as a control piece. Again, Man-Thing is a 4/7 here. It's just a lot of power. And you can play that with enough intent to not blow up half your freaking board here. You should be really good. Right? Like if you can Luke Cage, you can still get all the power. Their power collapses. You've got Shadow King, you've got Red Hulk, you've got Cannonball. Sweet list from Ava. Again, I don't know if this is the right list, but Man-Thing is, I betcha, relatively soon going to be a meta. All right, we are done with the things that matter. Angel went from 1/2 to a 2/3. I don't think I care. I'm going to try it, but I don't think I care. I don't have anything really to add. It's a significantly better card as a 2/3 than it was as a 1/2, especially in things that just run a little bit of destroy, where you're just like, sure, I'll take an extra 3 power. 3 power is a lot more than 2, and not being able to be blown up by Killmonger is both a positive and negative. I think this is a precursor to a larger rework for the card, but hey, look, I cut Wolverine to try Angel in this list. Is that right? No, probably not, right? But it does give you an extra thing, again, to blow up at the danger of clogging yourself. All right, the meta. Thena decks should still be great, and Arishem decks are considerably worse. Sandman is real, but the return of Lady Deathstrike and maybe even Man-Thing may take out some of that sting. Bounce and Surfer are still amazing. If Arishem goes, Mill will be amazing. Mill is just a sleeper. Check this morning's video if you want to see more about Mill. But it's going to be a Loki meta. We're all just awaiting the right shell for that Loki meta. What the best shell is right now, the best shell for Loki is Werewolf. I think Loki Werewolf is the best deck in the game, at least until we get a ton of Red Guardian to stop the Werewolf part of that. Thena is the other real contender here, at least until we get Red Guardian to stop the sting of that. And at that point, are we left with Surfer? Or can some Affliction, Man-Thing style decks take over? I look forward to finding out with you. We'll, as always, have the best decks for you as fast as possible here on the channel. Please check out patreon.com/snapjudgments if you're interested in more great decks every single day. We post these videos early, not the OTA videos, but every other video early there, and all sorts of cool stuff. On-air thanks for all of our Patreons, including Abigail Giesland, Mentor, Burnout Cables, Matt H, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, I'm about to get bit by this cat, Deuce Volt, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jay Neverett, Corwin, Prime Dryan, Reinberg, Kirtix Lee, Koiray, Pyrofrost, The Goat Seeker, Den Man Falcon, Quid Pro Joe, Doc D. Frat Nerd, Ginger Prime, Philip Brakovich, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Biz, Express Fiend, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, The King of Bros, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kefsi Hoda, Luna Chris, Quantum Quinn, John Q, Clam 8 Sage, Mod Supreme Models, Dart Sater, Ramus Atala, Ryan Coffin, Nate Martin, Jason B, J. Damon Daldino, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum Mix, Hoot, Matt H, DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, Seamus, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Great Lauren Debs, The Parry King, Tuccrr, The Homie Minute, of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. Don't forget to check out this morning's video. We've got the 2 best Wiccan decks by win rate, and seriously, the Mill deck that is featured as soon as Arishem goes, chef's frickin' kiss. That list is legit. Peace.